Welcome to the Fancy Thinker. I'm Jared, and today it's finally time for another Reading the Prose. This is number 24, and today I'm going to be doing a quite the excerpt from Salmon Rushdie's Midnight's Children. Yeah, so I'm about 100 pages into this book right now, and there was just a lot of things in here about the style of writing that stood out to me, and I think that really deserves some explanation uh, as best I can. This is Rushdie has a particular style that is not typical in a lot of stuff that I've read. It's quite unique actually compared to a lot of things I've read, and that's what I like about it because it really stands out from the rest of the stuff. And there's going to be the excerpt that I chose, this passage that I chose, um, is quite far in, and but there's no real sense of like spoilers here. There's no. It's just an excerpt explaining a certain situation in one long paragraph, right? So I'll put it up on the screen here as I read it, and it does kind of meander, and it's a kind of stream of consciousness thing. So it's a lot of stuff going on in this one paragraph, and it doesn't really pause. But we'll talk about that as we break it down. So here goes. Silent cousins, monkeys on leashes ceasing their chatter, cobras coiled in baskets, and the circling fortune teller finding history speaking through his lips. Was that how? Beginning, a son, such a son, and then it comes, a son, Sahiba, who will never be older than his motherland, neither older nor younger. And now, real fear amongst snake charmer, mongoose dancer, bone setter, and peep show walla, because they have never heard Ram like this. As he continues, sing song, high pitched, there will be two heads, but you shall see only one. There will be knees and a nose and knees. Nose and knees and knees and nose. Listen carefully, Padma. The fellow got nothing wrong. Newspapers praise him, two mothers raise him, bicyclists love him, but crowds will shove him. Sisters will weep, cobra will creep. Ram, circling faster, faster, while four cousins murmur, what is this, Baba? And Deo, Shiva, Goddess, while Ram, washing will hide him, voices will guide him, friends mutilate him, blood will betray him. And Amina Sine? What does he mean? I don't understand. Lifafadas. What has got into him? But inexorably, whirling egg-eyed around her statue-still presence, goes Ram Seth. Spittoons will brain him, doctors will drain him, jungle will claim him, wizards reclaim him, soldiers will try him, tyrants will fry him. While Amina begs for explanations, and the cousins fall into a hand-flapping frenzy of helpless alarm because something has taken over, and nobody dares touch Seth as he whirls to his climax. He will have sons without having sons. He will be old before he is old, and he will die before he is dead. So, uh, so if you made it through that, you will see that um, that is quite the passage there, and there's a lot going on here. So, right off the bat, this narrator of this book is narrating his life story, but the first 100 pages, he's not even born yet. He's narrating his parents, and then before them, his grandparents, and he's telling their story in his own interminable way. And so, what the scene he's describing here, the son that's going to be born is him. That's so he's this prophecy is about him, and so that there lies a rub basically of this passage. And so he's setting the scene right away in that first two sentences. He's got silent cousins. That's the people surrounding this fortune teller that his mother had come to see. And so he calls his relatives surrounding the fortune teller monkeys on leashes, and they have their chatter, and their cobras coiled in baskets, and they're circling this fortune teller. And then they they think, he says finding history speaking through his lips, and then he asks a question of himself: was that how he did it? Was finding history? So this, right off the bat, there's a big question about this whole setting and this fortune teller. How much can you rely on this fortune teller telling a truth of the future, predicting a son, such a son? Um, and so he then tells us, the narrator, beginning a son such as, and then that's just the setup of the fortune teller to grasp his audience's attention. And then it comes, then he gets into the prophecy part. And so he's going on about, you know, he has all these wishy-washy back and forth sing-songy style type of premonitions, I guess, if you would call them, as he moves on. And the whole time, the narrator's relatives are asking, "What does that mean? What does this mean?" Just as the reader's probably asking, "What does that mean? And what does this mean?" And it all means a whole bunch of nothing, really. And the narrator is basically telling you that, because the narrator, who is the person who is being foretold, um, the narrator is calling his relatives the snake charmer, mongoose dancer, bone setter, peep show walla. So he has all these bunch of wacky names for his audience, his family. And they're saying that he's telling you that his family never heard this guy talk like this, and so it must be significant. And there's a real tongue-in-cheek going on here, because he also repeats the fortune teller's words in a sarcastic, satirical fashion, nose and knees and knees and nose. And he's like, "Yeah, listen carefully." And he's telling the story to his caretaker, Padma. And he's like, "Listen, the guy got nothing wrong. I have knees and I have nose." And so it's very tongue in cheek that the story that he's relating about his prophecy, his prophesied birth, is of course just a bunch of nonsense, right? And so, but he's got to tell the story as it was told to him. And so he gets into um, the actual prophecy, or the actual fortune telling. And he got all this stuff. He tells how the Ram, the fortune teller, is circling around, circling faster, faster. And he uses this terminology, this faster, faster terminology, to and he jams the words together to make it one. And that just emphasizes, like, the chaos of it, and how this guy circling makes, it's making people's heads spin, basically. And so he gets into, like, one of his relatives, I think it's an aunt, Amina Sine, is saying, "I don't understand." And some cousins murmur, "What is this?" And they calling on the gods to help them interpret this fortune teller's insanity. And the and finally, the whirly egg-eyed around her statue still presence. So, according to the chaos of this fortune teller, everybody else is kind of like, they're kind of stuck in this statue still presence. So that description kind of tells you more about the scene, as this guy is really, he's really going for it. And so then the cousins are all like, their frenzy, hand flapping frenzy of helpless alarm. So that just I love that type of alliteration that emphasizes the chaos of the people watching, the fear of the people watching, the stress that they're going through. because they think that somebody's taken over and nobody can wants to touch this guy, but the hands are flapping, and so they wish they could do something. And the fortune teller finishes off his uh, his fortune with, he will die before he is dead, and of course that can have so much different types of meaning. um and he'll be old before he's old, and that's just, it's such fortune telling nonsense, but it had great weight to the people listening, and our narrator knows that. But he also, he's very the narrator is very practical. He doesn't want to believe this stuff, but he's got to tell the story as it was told him. And so he has a cynical look at it. He has a kind of, like I said, tongue in cheek look at it, and it's very amusing as the whole novel goes on. This kind of prose here, this chain of thought type of prose that goes through the book continues on. It There's a lot of passages like this I could have chosen here. He uses a lot of metaphors. He uses like he's comparing his family to this chattering monkeys and cobras and stuff all around his mother and the fortune teller, and like it's a big event. It's a big you know kind of family thing going on here. And a lot of that prophecy could be interpreted to him not going along with the pack. A lot of the prophecy um, has these little hints of things happening to him by others, by a doctor, by jungles, by the wizard, by a soldier, by a tyrant. And it just gives you all these hints into his character that he is not going to be conforming to anything that society does, just like he doesn't conform to the narrative of what he's telling us, of what he has heard and then is moving onward and telling us in this particular um, piece of prose here. So I really like how Rushdie did this, and he does it quite often in here and there, and I don't think this really gives anything away to the story, because he tells us right in the first page that he was born on the birth of India's independence from the colonizers, Britain. Uh, and so that is a what do you call it? Foretelling it's a big event. It's a big day. So it's very you could look at it on as a sign, as a this big sign, this big portent. That's the word I'm looking for. It's a portent. All right. So, anyways, speaking of prose, I got to think of my own sometimes. All right. Anyways, so I hope you liked that little breakdown. I hope this book continues being a very interesting read. And so once I'm done with it, I'll be talking more about it most likely, and I'll also be talking about this book. It's part of a read along on Page Chewing. So if you guys want to join that, please check it out. Check out the Page Chewing forums, and let me know if you want to join this read along. All right. With all that said, thank you, and be good to each other.